Today we're going to be looking at a scenario where geese rebel against Canada. This is probably going to be my most realistic video yet. So we have the Canadian geese getting a foothold over in this really cold part of Canada next to this lake. I think it's a lake. I don't freaking know Canada. In Quebec, and it's boring. And we also have some geese popping up in some of the warmer territories. No one else goes out to help Canada as they assume that they will be able to handle it themselves. Also, Canada is portrayed as white, but that does not mean the rest of the world is on their side. AKA, I don't feel like trying to draw that in, and I don't have a fill tool. So quickly, we have Canada actually being able to take down some of the Geese rebellions and causing two big encirclements. There we go. So, anyways, but the geese are able to eventually bounce back, and they start even taking parts of the border of the United States. Eventually, the geese in the colder parts start to fortify their border, and everyone's kind of questioning Canada's sanity right now. Although the world ends up getting, the world starts sending supplies to Canada, but then they have to stop because over in Australia, we can see an emu rebellion taking place in northwestern Australia, as it did back in the 1930s. Chair. There we go. So, anyways, we have the geese making a large encirclement of Canadian territory and fortifying that. Now, Canada's capital is uh, I'll mark it with pink. Why not? So, Canada's capital is right there, and the Goose Empire's capital is right here. So eventually, we do see the geese being able to connect with their exclave, and then they get a plan. They decide to abandon their southern territory completely, so they can instead attack the north, which would be much easier to take over. After um after knitting themselves tiny sweaters and then making posts on Instagram about it, we eventually, after seeing the redrawment of the U.S. border, even though it's the exact same. Dear God, why does Pixlr hate me? Why does Pixlr hate me? So we see the geese planning to send the rebellion up to the northern Canadian territory. So yeah, they've knitted their sweaters and they got their supplies because they don't want to make a mistake that a couple of countries have done before. Looking at you two. So, anyways, we have the after Canada is able to take back some of their lands, we have the geese expanding up north. We see a massive spearhead or bulge taking place, and they're able to take some of the coast of Canada. Eventually, Canada gathers their forces and is able to push the geese away from their capital. We even see Canada's own spearhead, but it quickly what's the word? It quickly backfires as the geese are able to encircle the Canadian troops. Can I stop having voice cracks? That would be nice. We see Canada. We see the geese continuing to push up into cold territory Canada. Yeah, that's the new name. It's not. It's no longer north. It's no longer northeastern. It's cold territory. Yeah. So we have them starting to take more and more of the Canadian coast, and USA is kind of considering invading. We do see the geese also getting help from an ally, and this ally is the man, the myth, the legend, or the country, I should say, Quebec. It's not all of Quebec that is rebelling, but that makes sense. So, and we even see some minor rebellions in the border of Quebec and I think Ottawa. I don't know. So we see Canada having to reorganize all their troops to go fight the Quebecy rebellion. Quebecy, that sounds really weird. They're eventually able to split them into two, and they're able to completely wipe them out. This shows the new success of Canada, and it gives the troops higher morale. Although because they did have to refocus their troops, we see the geese being able to take more and more of northern Canada. We see them doing a bit of island hopping by taking but by taking these extremely cold islands, but they're able to do it eventually. And now their next target is Newfoundland. Um, First they make a landing in this island right here and are able to get a port. And then go down to Newfoundland, and the Canadians are ready for a desperate offense. Or defense, I should say. We have the geese, after making their landing, pushing up into Newfoundland, which is a crucial and pretty important island of Canada. It's not really crucial, but it's one of the more known places in Canada. So eventually, after the geese are able to push up, we get about a 6 month stalemate, which for now is not resolved. We do see the geese continuing to take territory, and the Canadians decide to send all of their troops down to the southern front, mainly to protect Newfoundland and the rest of their territory. With this, the geese are able to capture all of the islands except for Newfoundland. We then see the geese going down to try to capture the capital, and then a massive encirclement of Canadian troops, leading to the biggest encirclement in history. So now Canada is pretty screwed right now, and they need it, and they're trying to think of a plan. So they hatch that plan. It's a spring offensive, kind of like a German World War One thing. They gather their forces, and then they hit hard on the capital. They gather them again and try to reach the Geese's capital, and again and again. We also see them going over to Newfoundland, trying to take the island back, and it does go very successfully, although they're not able to take everything. So now with this Canadian strategy, we see them having an opportunity to cause an encirclement. The Canadians push up, trying to reach as much territory as they can to complete it. The Geese realize what's going on, and they decide to split Canada into two. The Canadian economy is severely weakened, as there's a lot of stuff coming from over here, and as well as Vancouver. So this is kind of bad. The Geese are able to cause an encirclement of more Canadian troops, but they're eventually liberated. We do see the massive encirclement of Geese forces, but this doesn't matter anymore. Canada knows that this is their last chance to try to do something, so they quickly encircle they quickly take out the encircled Geese forces, and they launch more offensives. I don't have to do that with my mouse, but I feel like doing it anyway. They then try to take all of Newfoundland, hoping that the Geese will surrender. But it doesn't go well, as they're actually pushed back to worse than they were before. Canada is severely weakened as the Geese are pushing down further and further and are able to encircle the capital. The Geese decide to play some revenge, Uno reverse, if you will, by also sending in these massive spring offensives. Eventually, we see the gradual, slow push into Canada's capital as the Geese take the northern front. These battles are brutal and some of the deadliest in the entire war. We do eventually see the capturing of the capital and Canada having to surrender to the Canadian Geese. So yeah, that's what would happen if the Canadian Geese rebelled against Canada. We have Quebec temporarily under Canadian Geese control, um, although it is guaranteed independence by 2028. So there's a one right there, and that's the land that they'll get. Although we do see the Emu Empire in Australia. Just I might as well put this in here because it's very interesting. We do see them getting more and more territory, and after mutant spiders pop up in the other side of Australia, we see a peace. We see a peace agreement. Um, we have um we have the emus being declared this land, and the mutant spiders this land, and Australia will hope to reunite itself eventually. So yeah, that's what would happen if Canadian geese try to take over Canada. It's probably my most realistic video yet, and goodbye.